This is the 3 in Love channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today I'm excited about sharing my thoughts around the important role and purpose of women. It's amazing how women and men complement each other, and I want to help you understand my views on what perfection looks like when everything works according to nature, works according to that which works. The definition of truth on this channel is that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. We have to understand that which works, but we can't just do something that works temporarily right now if it's at the expense and substituted for that which works long term. Very often the thing that is a quick fix right now, a temporary short-term solution, is what's going to cause our exponential downfall. But if we understand the thing that actually works in the long run and in the big scheme of things, and we do those things consistently over a long period of time, we're going to get the exponential growth curve towards the abundance we desire to have in the different things that we love. Like, for example, joy, bliss, happiness, abundance of resources, and love, right? This channel is about love, believe it or not. 3 in Love. 1 man, 3 women. That's what this channel wants to share with the world. That monogamy has so many shortcomings because if it worked, then society would be absolutely amazing. And it's not. All children basically come from dysfunctional families, right? And then kids grow up in these dysfunctional families, and because they're now dysfunctional, they also have dysfunctional relationships with other people, and then they end up creating, again, dysfunctional babies. But over time, we're still evolving, we're still growing, but it is not at the pace or at the possibilities that we could have had if we applied the things that work, right? So on this channel, again, 3 in Love. Why does that work so beautifully? Because men and women complement each other perfectly in so many areas of life. And that's what I want to share with you guys in this video. On this channel, we also talk about masculinity and femininity. The definitions you need to understand. The definitions of masculinity is basically consistency. Being able to control one's thoughts, one's behaviors, and one's emotions. Femininity is basically the opposite. Having the inability to control yourself in extremely difficult situations and having so intense emotions that they're so difficult to control, and basically having inconsistency. There's nothing wrong about it because they're two opposites that beautifully complement each other. Because if we only have consistency, then it's boring and mundane in the long run. And if we only have the fun, exciting all of the time, then you're never gonna build anything up. So we need both, right? Let's look at the perspective of the entire world picture. We know that each individual has the capacity for love, has the capacity for happiness, okay? And everyone can have it at any given point in time if they apply the correct principles that will produce that love and that joy and happiness. So we just need to understand the principles that cause those things to work in our favor. So if we look at it from the perspective of we want the next generation to become better than us because we're going to die and someone is going to inherit the earth, right? And we want the earth to be in a better position than when we entered it, don't we? Why? Because we care. Because we actually want the world to become better. And we want humanity to become better. And we want our kids especially to succeed in the world that they live in. So if we know that, then we need to accept that evolution has an important role. Meaning, the more we develop as man and woman in a positive way, the more positively we are affecting our DNA structure, right? And we're affecting our brain. And in such a positive way that when we make babies, their DNA structure is amazing. Their brain has optimal function. Everything about that child is better now because of the development of the mother and father. If the father is beautiful, then the probability that what did I say? If the mother is beautiful, then the probability that she's going to have an amazing man is quite likely, right? Because she won't want to have anything else. And because she's beautiful, she's able to pick from the highest order in terms of power. A man that has a lot of power probably has a lot of capacity to gather resources. And if he gathers resources very well, then he'll be able to provide with his family with a stress-free situation where they can play and laugh, etc., and have food to eat, and the best food to eat, and the best clothing to wear, and the safety, which in turn will create unburdened children so that they can grow up and the boys can take on responsibility because they want to, and then the girls can choose to be unburdened for the long term because their father took care of business, right? That's what we want. So that in turn, those children, when they find their mates, they have the best possibility of evolving in a better way than what their parents did in the past. And that will continue until one beautiful, amazing day when everyone has come to a point where everything's amazing. Society has created heaven on earth, where boys and girls, men and women are all beautiful. And no one has any infirmities. No one has any diseases. No one has any, stupid things that are holding us back. Maybe one time in the future, we'll also have the capacity to avoid death, to figure out the youth elixir, right? But in the way that actually works. So, but those, it sounds like a fantasy or all that stuff, but we got to understand that why would we be put here on the planet if that wasn't possible? All of us inside our hearts know that we were meant for greater things. Well, guess what? If everyone is meant for greater things and they make that choice to actually participate in becoming great, then their children are going to be great also if they know how to parent, right? Because if you know how to parent and take care of those kids, and they can see your happiness and joy, and they want what you have, then they're gonna want to follow you and listen to you. If you don't have what they want, then they won't listen to you and they'll go the opposite way. And they'll try and figure out truth elsewhere. Because obviously, if you as a parent are not happy, then they don't want your life. Does that make sense? So I'm just saying that the whole key point is evolving, becoming better as a species, becoming better as humanity, and all of us progressing towards one day, all of us knowing that which works. In the long run and in the big scheme of things, a few of us are going to be ahead of the crowd because we figured out in advance of everyone else, because we were passionate and driven towards finding the truth. Because of that, we end up being ahead of the curve. We're actually the ones that are creating the curve. And then other people will be like, wow, I want that lifestyle. Or wow, those people are so happy. Or wow, how is it possible? And then they begin to investigate, and then they figure out that, wow, the things that they're doing is absolutely amazing. And then they jump on that curve and they get the exponential growth curve as well. So having said that, if that's our goal, then the whole key point is to develop a better next generation than what we were. In this point in time, we haven't figured out death, right? So we're all gonna die, right? Me and my wife, everyone's gonna die around us, right? But we've got kids. And we have the potential of helping them become better than who we were. Why? Because of the ignorance. The ignorance of our forefathers. It all started out with completely ignorant, dumb people. No offense, but that's what it was. And then over time, they've evolved to become smarter and more information, a bit smarter, more information. Over time, they figured out the things that work. Eventually, we've come to this society now where we're in the information age, and we really have information at our fingertips. There's never been a time in history where we've had that. And now we can finally understand female nature, because in the past, they would get punished for speaking the truth. But now, they're anonymous when they speak the truth online. And because they speak the truth online, we have hundreds upon thousands, of case studies explaining to us female nature and how things work. And if we have that together with all of the case studies of the people that have lived before us, writing their thoughts down and writing books, etc., you get like a huge case study of the potential of humanity. If we understand the woman and you will understand the world. Men are extremely simple to understand. It's ridiculous how simple they are to understand, while the woman is more complex. That's what this video is about, the role of women. Number one key, remember, is the evolution of our kids, the evolution of society, us creating heaven on earth in the long run, and thinking about that. Because if we can do that, our names will be etched in history, right? In many ways. So that's the goal. The evolution of the species, having our kids becoming better than who we were, and then them having kids and creating better kids than who they were. And over time, everyone will come to a knowledge of that which works, the truth. Okay, we know that. That's on that side. That's the goal. And the cool part is that every single one of us want the best lifestyle as possible. We all want to be happy. We all want to have love. We all want to feel connection with other people. The cool part about it is that the more you are actually truly happy, the more love you feel in your life, the more positivity you have, the more connection you have with other people, the more likely your kids are going to want the lifestyle that you have. So which means that they're going to progress faster than anyone else because they had you as a parent who had those attributes and qualities and lifestyle. Does that make sense? So if we understand that, that's how we make things better. That's how we progress. So you developing yourself or doing the thing that comes naturally to you according to nature and figuring out what your nature is as a woman, because this is a female channel, a woman's channel, then your children are going to massively benefit from it. But if you're living against your nature, and in this term we're going to call it according to a masculine nature, then that's going to create difficulties for your children. Does that make sense? Like, women were designed for femininity. And then in emergency situations, or sometimes, they would have masculinity, but very, very limited. Okay, we're talking 5% should be masculinity, testosterone, a little bit of that. But most of it should be estrogen. Just carefree lifestyle, no discipline, no focus, just carefree, stress-free, enjoying one's life. That's what women were designed for. Men, on the other hand, we're designed differently. We're different than you guys. We were designed to seek out power, which is a good thing because that's what you guys are attracted to. And we want power. We want leadership, and we want sexual worship from our women. And when I say our, I'm talking about masculine guys who understand that they only have capacity for so many women, and that's it. And the cap, in my opinion, according to this channel, it's 3 that they can commit to and then provide for luxuriously and protect them from harm and all cares and sorrows. And then together they can move forward as a family. Okay. So where does it all start? It starts with us. And it starts with our selfishness, which is a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. And let me explain why. Men have this selfish desire to create family. It's selfish, but that's what we have. If we can trust women. The cool part about it is that if a man understands female nature, he will trust women because he trusts himself. If he understands that the women in his life is just merely a reflection of who he is, then the women in his life are going to stick if he's amazing. If he's not amazing, then women are going to exit out of his life. He's going to lose everything and he's going to be scared and he's going to not want to be around women because they cheat and all that stuff. No, it's only if he sucks. If the man is amazing, the women in his life is going to be amazing. So as a masculine man, he knows he's amazing, which means that he's going to have amazing women. So he has a desire for family. It's a selfish desire, but it's actually a selfish desire that benefits a lot of people. And we're talking millions of people. Because when a man secures himself a family and he raises those kids well because he treats his women the right way, then those children are going to also have the same thing. And they're going to create amazing children. And then they create amazing children. And the more amazing children there are, the happier they are. And they become examples for the people that they're around, right? Connection. Everyone is connected in some way, shape, or form. The more amazing the man is, the more amazing the next generations are going to be. And the people that are connected to them in different ways throughout their lives. But it's selfish. Another selfish thing is that men want to have sex with beautiful women. That's pretty selfish. We want it. You know, just like Joey says on Friends, there's no such thing as a selfless deed or a selfless act. This is in season 1 or something. And it's true, right? We do things because we want to feel a certain way, right? A man very often does a lot of services and things for other people because he understands karma. Right? If I do good to other people, then good things will happen to me. If I act this way, then maybe she will be interested in me, etc., etc. A lot of the things that we do as men is in order for us to get power or for us to get laid. And if he's masculine, he'll want to get laid consistently instead of inconsistently with different girls all over the place that could potentially ruin his life. He'd rather just focus on a few key women, 3, who are best friends forever, who he can provide for luxuriously and protect, etc., etc. And that is selfish, that he wants them to sexually worship him. But he'll actually do the things that are necessary in order for them to be in the environment so that they can actually enjoy it. And that they're fired up outside their brain about being with him. That's about complementing each other. But the man is selfish. But it's good. Family, which is great. It's great for women, great for kids. Sexual worship, it's fantastic because it produces motivation as long as he doesn't force, right? That's the key point. It produces motivation for the man. This is how the world goes round. Like, men are fired up outside their brain about sexual reward. However, it becomes a problem when they get it too easily. When they get it too easily, then there's not really much to it anymore. Like they're not fired up about progressing, about becoming better, etc., etc., etc. And they're not thinking long term. The easier sex is for men, the more short-term thinking they have, the more feminine they become, right? I'm thinking about this yesterday. Whenever a man ejaculates, he releases oxytocin in his brain, which is a feminine cuddle hormone, right? Which causes him to basically become more and more like a girl. The more like a girl he becomes, the more warped and he becomes, and the more he goes against nature. For women, it's different. They're not built the same. Okay, what else was I gonna say? Men want to get rich, right? Power, sexual worship, and massive abundance. Okay, we got that. Simple. For women, what do they want? Simple. Is it simple? They want everything, right? If we understand how the woman functions in terms of her selfish desires, because they're selfish, but those selfish desires beautifully complement the man. And what are those? Well, the woman, she simply doesn't want to work. Women just want to have fun. That's feminine women. And that's what we're talking about mostly here because that's the thing that actually works. Masculinity in women, which is by definition, according to our channel, is when a woman is burdened, she is masculine. She's taking upon herself the role of a man, of providing, of supporting, of, and relying on herself and survival, right? But if you as a woman want to be, instead of being in survival mode, you want to be in growth mode, then you got to be in your feminine nature. And going according to your masculinity will be going against your nature, right? So a selfish thing for feminine women, because they care, is to serve others. They naturally do that. If they don't care for others, they feel bad. They feel guilty inside. They feel like, oh man, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Women, when they're in their feminine nature, are absolutely amazing. The more masculine a woman is, the more she doesn't have capacity, right? But if she's feminine, or allowed to be feminine because of the environment that she's in, because of her she's an environmental creature, then she actually does things naturally that things that the man will enjoy, and that actually rewards the man. Okay? So we need to look at it, how men and women complement each other so beautifully this way. When men live according to their nature, they provide massively. They produce a lot more than what they need. And they actually want to bring resources to their women and their children, and then feel like they are the hero. They're the leader. They're the big kahuna. That's what men desire. Women, on the other hand, they don't really care that much about money if they're feminine, if they're unburdened. Then they're all about connection and being with other people, etc., and making a nice, cozy environment for everyone, making sure that everyone's happy, right? If they're feminine. So they will do things, women will do things that they naturally do. What do they naturally do on any given day when they don't work, right? Well, women, as long as they're together with other women, don't mind doing the daily menial tasks. If a woman is by herself, she will not want to do those things again and again and again and again and again and again, because she's not being nurtured. A nurturer needs to be nurtured first in order for her to nurture at her max capacity, right? So if she's with others though, guess what she loves to do? She loves to cook. Interesting. That's a reward for men, right? But it's also a reward for her. Because even if the man wasn't there, she'd be cooking for herself, wouldn't she? Interesting how this complements each other, right? The man loves to get a nicely cooked meal. Well, guess what? Women together love cooking. That's a match, okay? Complement each other. Second of all, women love to shop. They literally do. Like, they want to go out shopping. See, masculine men don't like that very much. We'd rather just work and communicate with other men, become rich, etc., etc. Yeah, of course, we'll shop things, but we'd like to shop big companies. And we'd like to, work with businesses, etc. But you guys, you women, you love to shop. You love to get discounts. You get fired up outside your brain about it, right? Which is something that the man doesn't want to do if he's masculine. And so the women take care of the shopping, and they take care of the preparation of the food, etc. And they take care of, making clothes, and they take care of the environment, the home that they live in, the domestic aspect of things, the environment for the kids, for themselves. And guess what? Because they make a beautiful environment for themselves, it is a beautiful environment for the man when he comes home. So the thing that the women would do anyway, even if there was no man, he comes home and he gets the benefits of it. Do you see how this complements each other so beautifully? What else do women do naturally without even thinking, and they would do it whether there was a guy there or not? But the fact that they're doing it together and they're having fun doing it, when the man is participating, it's even more fun, right? They love having tons of free time. They love working on their talents and hobbies. They love playing, dancing, jumping. Do you understand what I mean? Like, the girls just want to have fun. You understand how perfect that is? And how beautiful it is in terms of kids? Women would naturally, if they're feminine, gravitate towards small, vulnerable little creatures. They can't help themselves. Feminine women love that. The more feminine you are, the more you love kids, the more you love babies, the more you love small dogs, puppies, the more you love nature, do you understand what I mean? That's a selfish thing because that's what you love. You love handling that. Well, guess what? The man desires kids. You, of course, desire kids as well, but he desires kids, but he doesn't want to take care of them. As a masculine man, he's not designed to be with his kids when they're from 0 to 8 years old. Maybe even 0 to 10 years old. But when they become teenagers, a masculine man is fired up outside his brain about helping those kids of his. Because now they can communicate properly. Now he can teach them logic. Now he can teach them how to survive and thrive in this world. Do you see what I'm saying? Again, perfectly complements each other because women were designed for that nurturing role while men were designed to help produce that child, but then be there throughout, as the child grows up, of course, but he's gone the majority of the time. Great, good. Because the more he's in the presence of women and children all of the time, the more of a woman he becomes himself. And if he becomes more of a woman, who's going to protect the family? Who's going to provide luxuriously for the family? Who's going to have the ambitions to get money? No one's going to do that. So it's important that the man is gone the majority of the time, which is perfect because that's what he wants to do if he's masculine. He wants power. He wants more money. He wants to be, an example for others, of success, right? And if he's home all the time, he can't do that. Perfectly complements each other because women would like to experience having that success without having to do anything. What else did I write there on my list of how they complement each other? It's flipping amazing. Women love to be in nature. Let's see. Hypergamy, right? In terms of hypergamy, women naturally gravitate towards the highest value man who shows interest to them back. In 3 in Love, where there's 3 women, that naturally happens. Where one woman wants the attention of the man, because she wants the attention of the man, then the other women are like, ooh, I want the attention of the man as well. That is selfish. They all want the man. It increases the demand for the man. And because he's not home that much, the supply is low, which means that he will actually be high value, even though he hasn't done more than providing and protecting. That's it. So he gets rewarded for the things that he would naturally do anyway, simply from having 3 of you. If he just has 1 of you guys, then there's not much motivation going on. There's not the woman has the power, and so she's not attracted to him. And there's no other women that are basically showing that they're interested in the man. And because there's no other woman there, the woman is kind of like, I don't really want this guy. He's a failure and he does this and that and the other. And she ends up not being in love with him. There's so many things I can say in this video. But what the whole point that I'm trying to say is that in a perfect world, women and men complement each other. Monogamy doesn't work, okay? But casual sexual relationships are worse and they ruin the world, right? So monogamy is better than casual sexual relationships, but monogamy has so many faults because it's the woman who wears the pants in every single relationship. And if she doesn't, you better believe she still has it. She still wears the pants, even if you don't believe that she does. But 3 in Love has the capacity to actually help the women to be in love all of the time for the rest of their lives. That's what I think is so amazing about our system. which is not ours, by the way. We simply discovered it. Okay, but the whole, it's amazing how this works because it allows men to be themselves, to strive to become better, to strive to become more masculine, and to strive to develop more testosterone. Good. And the women are then, because of his testosterone and drive and ambition, etc., the women are able to simply enjoy life. Why would a woman in her right mind, if she's feminine, want to work outside of the home? I heard from one of my friends, she's fascinated with Candace Owen. If you don't know who Candace Owen is, you can look it up. But she's basically a Republican. Okay, so she's a politician, media woman, who is very conservative and believes in the tradition of the family, etc., etc. Now, obviously, she doesn't know about 3 in Love, so she believes monogamy is it. And she's also extremely masculine in the sense that she has huge ambitions and she wants to, bring her beliefs and philosophy, to the mass public. That's why she's appearing on all these shows all the time and making her own channel on YouTube, making it huge, and everyone loves her and her philosophies because it's basically against, not everyone, by the way, a minority likes her philosophies because it's against the mainstream. But that the person who likes her philosophies and beliefs, etc., asked me, what do I think about her? Well, I know that she's masculine. So the question is, what's more important? Her becoming the president or her taking care of kids? Her kids. Which is the most important role? The most important role is motherhood. There is nothing more important than that. That is the most crucial work that anyone could do. Anyone. Which means that every single occupation or career that a man has zilch relevance compared to the role of the woman, of motherhood. So if we understand this in light of we're trying to create a better world, we're trying to create a better evolution, if we sacrifice women's lives and take them away from their kids, which they do naturally and voluntarily, by the way, because they don't trust men. That's why it's happening, by the way. Women don't trust men because they've been screwed over so many times that they want their own money, they want their own stuff, and they want to be in control of their own lives, etc., etc. And so, who is the one who gets screwed over the most? The woman obviously does. The man loses all motivation because the woman doesn't need him anymore. But it's the kids that sacrifice the most because they didn't have their mother. So they end up really growing up as orphans because the man, no matter how much he tries to nurture those kids, he doesn't have estrogen. And if he does, it's extremely low measures. In the same way that men has 10 to 12 times more testosterone than women, women have way more estrogen than men. So they're naturally better nurturers. But what if the woman simply leaves the home and gives the kids over to the school or the kindergarten or whoever else? She's neglecting, not her fault, but she is neglecting the kids. The kids are being neglected. It's the man's fault. It's never a woman's fault. But it's a problem. And it's a humanity problem. Because the more we do this, the worse humanity becomes. And and if we continue doing this, then we're not going to create heaven on earth. We're not going to evolve and become better and create a better species over time. Right? Because we're going against our natures. That's a problem. The last thing that I can say about how men and women beautifully complement each other is that when a woman is together with a man of high value, and she literally has a man of high value because they're three, and that immediately makes him a high value, okay? As long as he's a trustworthy, good, honorable, integral man, it's good that he received that much power, that he becomes high value on automatic, by default, because there's three women, okay? If that's the case, then these women selfishly, in a good way, desire sex from him. And they desire to worship him. And they serve him naturally in those ways and reward him for the effort that he's putting out. And if he knows what he's doing, which he would over time, then he gets his reward for the actions and the steps that he's taking in the right direction, right? Truly, that's really all a man wants. He wants to feel fantastic about himself, just like you as a woman want to feel fantastic about yourself. Well, guess what? You guys complement each other perfectly, as long as he fulfills his role and you fulfill your role. But guess what? If he does fulfill his role, and his most important role is for you to trust him, then you would naturally let go. You would naturally be carefree, stress-free, not worry about finances, not worry about problems, not worry about anything, because he protects you and he protects your emotions, which allows you then to enjoy and simply be yourself and take care of the things that you would take care of no matter what anyway, but you get paid for it. You get massive wealth from it because he naturally becomes wealthy and rich because of all of the motivation, the rewards that he gets from having this family, and he doesn't want to lose it ever, so he makes sure that the environment improves and becomes better and better and better over time. I hope that you guys can understand what I'm saying here. If you don't, make sure you drop a comment, make sure you subscribe and like this video so that you can understand this whole philosophy behind all of this. There's so much more to it, but I can't fit that in less than 20 minutes, so, I just got to make more videos. Anyway, again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.